Hi, this is Mimi.
And this is Lee, and this is Getting Rich After Divorce.
We're two divorced women who decided the best way to get rich was to embrace our entrepreneurial spirits and build our own business.
To us, rich means the money in your bank account, but also the quality of your life, your experiences, and your personal well being.
You're here to overcome doubt, fear, burnout, and finally get unstuck to build a business you love and makes you rich.
You also want to learn how to do all of this while navigating the challenges divorced women face. If that's you, stick with us. You're in the right place.
Hi, this is Mimi.
And this is Lee, and you are listening to Getting Rich After Divorce. Today, on our second episode in season 1 of Getting Rich After Divorce, we are going to talk about how you can help your customer find you and vice versa, really.
Yeah, it's a big topic. Like, how do you let your customer know you're the right person with the right solution that they're looking for whatever their problem or interest or thing is, that you're their person. And then once you can convince them or you can find them, can you clearly articulate this solution and benefit that you're giving them?
So that they actually hear it in a way that they recognize.
Yeah, Lee's got a beautiful metaphor for this.
Yeah,
too.
so
love
I
this.
hope this is helpful rather than hurtful. So sometimes a metaphor might go either way, but this is what came to my mind as we were discussing this topic. So I'm going to use the metaphor of a male cardinal and a female cardinal. So in this scenario, the male cardinal is you and your business and your product. It's what you're out there trying to sell. It's what you represent. And the female cardinal is your customer, potential customer. And so a couple of things are happening in the wild with the birds. And again, this is not meant to be scientific. I don't really know a lot about cardinals. We're just dealing with like a very surface level of this, just as a metaphor. But the female cardinal, to have the family, the ultimate goal of them getting together is to have a family and perpetuate cardinals as a bird. And so the female cardinal is looking for something that will catch her eye that will actually help her. And in this case, she's designed to look for that red feather. She's not designed to look for a blue feather, a yellow feather. She's designed so that she knows when she sees that red feather, that's for her. That's going to give her what she wants. And so the male cardinal needs to be in her vicinity, needs to make sure that she can see him. And, that red feather is key. He can't go paint himself blue and get the same result. Likewise, the male cardinal needs to make sure that he's not getting in the vicinity or on the radar of all the bluebirds in the area or the goldfinches in the area. He's got to go toward recognize who his customer is and who really needs him and what he has to offer. So they have to find each other and in a very specific way, which is you and your customer. Does that make sense, Mimi?
Yeah. This is really how metaphors with Lee and I go. I'm like, okay, so who am I in this scenario?
Right.
Like, where do I fit in? So in this metaphor, you are the male red cardinal, and you've got this red feather, your beautiful solution that you're out here waving. And here it's the female cardinal doing her thing, and you're trying to let her know, hey, if you'll just look at my red feather, I've got the answer. I've got the answer you're looking for. So in your business, you're trying with your red feather to understand what she wants and what she needs so that you guys can meet and this beautiful outcome occurs. So, it really is like how do you as the business owner have to understand both of those things, right?
Right, exactly. And because you're not actually birds, you've got to do this in a different way. It's not going to be as straightforward as just having a color. You've got to understand as a business owner how to step into the shoes of the customer. You've got to understand what they're looking for at the place where they are at that moment when they need you. It's not as simple just to hang your shingle out. You've got to know the language they would express their problem in. Like your customer is going to have a very customer oriented way of expressing what he or she needs, and you've got to understand what that is. Or they're not going to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. So think about where you are in your business right now. So it could be, I mean, most of us start our business for, there's a variety of reasons, but we have found that most of them is because you had an issue and you found a solution and you're like, oh my gosh, this solution is so amazing. I want to share it with everybody else. And that kind of becomes the basis of your business. That's how we started our business. We had our individual businesses. We started talking to each other. It's like, oh my gosh, when women come together in community and they talk about this, important thing of their businesses and their income, their businesses thrive. Like, this is so cool. And we've learned all these, unique business things for an online business. That's our specialty, but it could be product basis. A lot of how you talk to your customer is going to be the same. So, or the second thing is you've got this amazing skill, and your friends are like, whether it's, you're Mrs. Fields, baking cookies or whatever it is, you know how to put together a bookcase better than anybody else, and everybody's like, you should have a business for this. You should teach other people how to do this. Maybe yours is like writing emails. It's amazing the businesses that are out there. I sat in a conference and somebody had a business teaching women how to do a split. It was like so funny. It's like, whatever your business idea is, it's normally driven because you learned how to solve that problem or you have a skill. So how do you communicate that to your customer? How do you find the customer that's sitting there with that same need?
Right. And like with the split thing, I wonder, how did this person articulate and find, that's a really fascinating thing. I mean, we can share with you our journey and also talk to you about like sort of the symptoms that are happening if you don't have this right, if you haven't done enough work here, what it might feel like in your business if this issue hasn't been properly dealt with. And then what are the outcomes? Like when you get this right, when you become an expert male bird with that red feather, what you're not going toward the bluebirds, you're not going toward the finches, you're going toward, the female cardinal. What it looks like, what's the outcome for you when you've got it right?
Yeah. So what are some of the symptoms? If somebody is there and they're like, oh, I don't know if that's my issue that I haven't quite
I mean, I know.
understood.
I know from peers and our students, and also from our journey. One thing, and it depends on where you guys are in your own business journeys. In the beginning, early on, when we were still kind of circling around what exactly our product would even look like, we were trying to figure out who we wanted to serve. And we really struggled in a conversation that circled all women, all women everywhere.
Every woman on the planet.
On the planet in all countries. Then we kind of narrowed like middle age, because we were middle aged. We were all kind of circling late 40s and right around 50, I think. I don't know, somewhere in there when we started. And so we were thinking right around that age group. And then we were like, are we serving empty nesters, divorced women, or just all women? Like, we couldn't quite get there. And so what that looked like is a lot of stalled, kind of spinning our wheels. Because when you're not clear on that, you're not exactly clear on what your product offers either. Or that can happen. So it can feel like just some confusion because you've not nailed down who you're serving. And then your product can suffer. Your product journey can feel confusing and stalled out sometimes because you don't know exactly what it's supposed to offer to whom. So in the beginning, it just means you're kind of spinning your wheels and you're not really moving forward. And by moving forward, we mean making money. So if you're not making money in the beginning and you don't have something specific to sell and you don't know who you're selling it to, it just looks like, maybe you have your website up and it's pretty, and maybe you've got business cards, all of which we had.
Oh, so many sets
so
of
many
business
things that we had that made it look like we were in business, but we weren't making money in the beginning because we didn't know exactly who we were serving. That red feather thing wasn't working yet. We weren't clear. And
I think too, Lee, to that point, it also meant that we were jumping from thing to thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we didn't have total confidence in what we were doing because we didn't have total confidence in who we were serving and the problem that we were trying to solve.
Yeah.
So if we put something out into the universe and it wasn't immediately successful, it's like, okay, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of like trying to say, oh, maybe our messaging wasn't right, it's like, and I think that was driven from a lack of confidence that we know this woman. We know so much where she is. We have stood in her shoes. We know what she's looking for. We know how to deliver it. If we had entered it with that level of confidence and what wasn't received 100%, it would be like, okay, what do we need to tweak? Like maybe our ad didn't go to the right place. Maybe the product, the offer was too long. Like we would have, I think, had more confidence in adjusting that instead of saying, oh, well, maybe this woman is here, or maybe she's here. So, that's one of the benefits of really spending the time now to understand. There's so many exercises and questions to help you nail down who your customer is and really understanding them. But the symptoms of not doing that is delay in starting your business, spending way too much money on things that aren't ultimately going to
bring in money.
Make money, spending your time so inefficiently doing things that are unnecessary, beating yourself up, like, oh, here I go again.
Yeah, and you can misinterpret what's happening. So you'll start to beat yourself up. You'll start to feel like you can't do this business thing. You'll spin around not really understanding what to fix if you don't have this nailed down. And so it's worth cycling. We've learned to cycle back to this over and over and over again because we've learned if it's not nailed down, that may be why we're suffering some kind of stall out or confusion or whatever it is. It's because of that.
Yeah. And doing the work, the benefits are like magnificent. It's like when you do this work, it gives you language, right? Like when you start to think about who my customer is, for us, it was like us, like what did we feel like? What did we need to hear? What was the outcome that we wanted? Because sometimes your customer's not exactly sure what it is, or they think they want one thing, but you've been down this path, so you really know what they want. But how can you talk to them where they are, and just getting this language that's going to serve you in your emails, when you build your website, the language that you put on there, when you build sales pages for your products.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in every single way you talk or write about your business on every single platform, like Amy said, it's emails, it's your website, it's your ads, it's any expression that's verbal or written, you need to have a very clear idea of what those words are. And you won't know that unless you understand what your red feather is, and also what is that female cardinal looking for. How do you make sure she sees your red feather? It's usually done in language. There is some branding, like using color and imagery, maybe putting you out in the forefront as part of your brand. But you could do all that, and without the right language, you're still going to have a lot of confusion. People will be confused about exactly, they might think you're awesome, like that person seems really cool, that person seems really grounded, that person seems really smart. They may have a lot of positive opinions about you, but if you don't have the right language, they won't be buying your product in the numbers you need them to for you to make a good living doing what you're doing.
Yeah, because you want your customer to understand that you understand where they are. That the pain that they're sitting in. We say pain, it might just be I need my bookshelf put together. Yeah, right. Really, like whatever it is.
Which is painful, if you don't.
We put together enough bookshelves that we know that can be a struggle, Or it's like helping you choose paint colors, whether it is life coaching, Lee does a lot of coaching. whatever it is that they're looking for, they want to believe that you understand exactly where they are and you understand how to get them where they want to go. Like, that's the beauty of really understanding who your customer is and which feather to pull out to speak to them.
Right. And I know in my own journey of looking for somebody to put my shelves together, or looking for a life coach for myself, a business coach, or just a personal life coach, what does it take for them to break through to me? Because I feel like I'm a very picky customer. So what are the things that really stood out to me to help me pick? And when I think about the people I actually paid, there were very specific things that set them apart from the crowd, because there are tons of there are like a million life coaches out there. How do you pick the right one for you? You've got to have some language and some clarity coming from that person, so that you're like, yeah, that is clear to me. I want that person because their message is clear to me.
Yeah, which kind of circles right back to where we started, right? It's like, how do you let your customer know that you're the right person with the right solution for whatever issue they're dealing with right now?
So it's really jumping back and forth between knowing what your product is, knowing who you are, what your credentials are, your talent, your skills, and then also jumping over into their shoes, their point of view, and coming, kind of doing that dance back and forth. We use very specific exercises to help our, students do this, so that they know how, because we can say this is what you need to do, but there's a lot, it can take months. I mean, I know one time we took like 3 months to really dig into this. And once we did that work, that's when we had a big jump in revenue. And so it's worth it to do it. It's not something you can do overnight, generally speaking, unless you're up all night. So it takes some, I kind of want to let them know, Mimi, that it takes some time.
It does take some time, but you don't want you're not to be moving your business forward while you're doing it.
Yeah, you don't want to stall out over it.
Yeah, you don't want to stall out, but you can always be refining it and working on it, and not letting this be an excuse for not getting your business out in the world. Yeah,
especially if you've got that perfectionist thing going on. You don't want to think, oh, this is so pivotal, I need to work on it for 8 years, before I do anything else in my business. We're lucky in that we have business partners.
Yeah.
So we're always we'll be working on, say, if we're re-engaging with this exercise of finding the right language for our customer, digging back into their point of view, we'll also be still selling a product or doing other things, building an online course. We'll be doing other things while we're doing that. So Mimi's right. Don't let it stall you out. But I also want to emphasize, to do it well, it takes a little more time probably than you think it does.
Yeah, and it's an evolution. As your customer changes, as you talk to them, as you get more customers, as you get more confidence in how you're going to deliver your product, all of that will start to evolve, and you'll get real clarity, and your messaging will improve, and it becomes easier, I think is what I was trying to say. Like, doing this work makes the other stuff easier.
Yes, that is so true. That's a really good point to take away from this. When you do this, it makes so many other dominoes in your domino series, fall more easily. Like, your marketing becomes easier, your branding becomes easier, your website language, everything becomes easier when you really nail this.
Yeah.
So,
and one of the ways that you'll know that you're getting really clear is when it becomes super simple to articulate what your red feather is.
Yeah.
So when somebody says, "Oh, what does your business do? Oh, what's your business?" You'll get that question so much. It's like, I always say, it's like a pregnant woman. "Oh, you're having a baby? It's a boy or girl?" It's like, what are these questions? Once people know that you have a business, they're fascinated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does your business do? And to be able to say, like, with speed and clarity, this is what my red feather is, it's really good. And again, it's all of this confidence building stuff that a solopreneur needs to be successful.
It gives you confidence. Mm-hmm. It gives you confidence. It's an internal journey as well. So, I mean, we would love to know in the comments, like if you're watching this on YouTube or, um, probably through YouTube. I don't know if you can do comments in a podcast platform, but
Well, I think you can do it where we have the show notes.
yeah,
You can
in the
drop a
show
comment.
notes. Yeah. So we would love to hear, does this make sense to you? What are your questions about this? I would love to hear from you. We also have some downloads, like some handouts that we could virtually hand out to you if you want to take a look. But let us know if this is making sense, or how this helped you, how it didn't help you. We'd love some feedback.
Awesome. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Getting Rich After Divorce. We're so happy you were here. We truly value each and every one of you.
Yes, we sure do. And be sure to subscribe to us wherever you're catching us, whether it's on, through a podcast platform or on YouTube. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating if you feel you deserve that. And join our community so you get updates and stick with us.